Welcome to Construction Genius. This is Eric, and thank you for listening. My guest today is Paolo Tiramani. He is the CEO and founder of Boxabl, a technology startup that's on a mission to significantly lower the cost of home ownership for everyone. Boxabl creates and produces stackable, highly modular, portable building solutions, which can be unpacked on-site in under an hour. Elon Musk has one of them. So, we have Paolo on the show because we want to talk about modular construction, the limitations of modular, and also the possibilities, how you can bring modular construction to the residential industry specifically and still maintain customization and architectural beauty. And we also talk about the challenges of building a startup from nothing, from 0 to 1 and beyond. Enjoy my interview here with Paolo. Feel free to check out Boxabl online. Think about how this can apply not only residentially, but also commercially. And if you're ever in Vegas, book a tour for the Boxabl factory there in Vegas. They will take you around and show you everything that they're doing. I'm sure you'll find that very interesting. And share the interview with anyone that you think would benefit. And thank you for listening today to Construction Genius. This is Eric Anderton, and you're listening to Construction Genius, a leadership masterclass. Thomas Edison said that genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. If you're a construction leader, you know all about the perspiration, and this show is all about the 1% inspiration that you can add to your hard work to help you to improve your leadership. Paolo, welcome to Construction Genius.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me. Love the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to have you on because your perspective is one that is it's been kicked around in the construction industry for a long time. People understand that there's this problem. Construction is essentially pre-industrial, and you are working on rationalizing and industrializing the construction process. Tell us what you're focused on and why it's so important for the industry.
Great. Yeah, great question. So, the building construction is the largest consumer product that isn't. What do I mean by that? I mean that everything that we buy and use in a modern world is made in a factory. Everything you touch your shirt, everything you're looking at, except buildings, because buildings are big and it's been hard to put them in a factory until Boxabl. And that means that they are pre-industrial. Pre-industrial simply means not built in a factory, so we get variable costs, long lead times, variable quality, high costs, typically, and no economies of scale, no ability to use modern technology that the rest of our post-industrial world takes advantage of, and we can take advantage of those products. And things that we're used to when we buy a shirt on Amazon, and we can do returns, and we have very high quality standards, like iPhone level quality standards. We just park all those notions when it comes to buildings. They're not portable. You can't do anything with them. And it's just a very big problem. And the speed and scale is really the epicenter of that problem. And Boxabl, frankly, fixes all that.
So let me ask you, when you begin to talk about off-site modular construction, I know much of my audience will be like, okay, so I've been hearing this for the last 25, 30 years. It's, hey, 3D printing for construction, but that hasn't happened yet. And so there's three main issues that I see a lot with this idea of industrializing construction. One is that every single project in the mind of the people building it is unique. The second one is from a geographic location, and so there's a whole bunch of different subs working on the project. The idea of the design that the owner wants is unique as well. And so all of these elements come into play, and they really present these massive roadblocks to the industrialization that you are describing. So tell me how Boxabl proposes to overcome these roadblocks.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me take just one step further back, if I may, to your question. Unfortunately, maybe throw a little bit of muck at the current factory-built industry. So we have field construction, just coming from the top down. We have field construction, and as you pointed out, there's a lot of attempts at post-industrial production, i.e. putting buildings in a factory. Every single one to date takes one of two trodden and ineffective roads. The first is modular and trailer construction, where they bring antiquated field tools like little nails and bits of wood and nail guns, put them in a factory, So they use antiquated methods in a factory, which are not appropriate, not the best solution. And then they build something that's 14 foot wide or 12 foot wide, and it's illegally wide to ship. And then they ship in 200 miles. So that's not a solution. And then the other solution is this tiny homes, which, I feel for them. Those customers are just looking for some freedom in their lives. They don't like the high costs, but the tiny homes look nice in pictures. But if I spread my arms, that's 6 foot wide, and a tiny home is about 7 foot wide, because you can only go 8.5 foot wide to go down the highway. And if you put it on a regular flatbed, those ceiling heights are going to be in the 7-8 foot range. You're living basically in a large coffin. It's really horrible. But it's such a negative comment. So that's the post-industrial marketplace today. It doesn't work. So the question that's really great that you asked, which is one of the centers of what we do, is that the customer is who we serve. And the customer wants what they want, and they want something that is in a layout and a style and a price that dials in to their local economy. They want customization. I don't know. Is customer at the beginning of the word customer part of customization? I don't know. And we completely respect that. Boom. That's one master that we must serve. And then the other master we must serve to help fulfill that is that in a factory, factories wants to make repeatability. So a factory wants to make a nut and a bolt in the same size. They want to bang them out, massive volume, great leverage with suppliers, repeatability, fewest number of unique components. We want massive rationalization in the factory. So how do we combine those two? And how do we fix the first problem of making these very large buildings in the road in a factory and then shipping down the road illegally? So our solution takes a couple of different approaches. First of all, one of the aha moments that we had at Boxabl was that about 2/3 of volume in residential construction certainly is empty space, and the rest, the remaining third, is we call it dollar dense. Dollar dense means it's dense in labor and dense in expensive materials like everything from stairs to kitchens to partition walls, boiler rooms, and appliances. And we realized, wow, why don't we just fold down the empty space and create a system works with that? And so we did, Matrix-like. We just fold down the empty space. Much easier said than done, tons of engineering. And that resulted in an 8.5 foot wide product that unpacks to 20 foot wide on the short side, 40 foot wide on the long side, provides a 9.5 foot ceiling height. We've even developed our own delivery system, which pays a lot of dividends. And then in terms of our two masters, the factory and the customer, our approach is not to build a finished home in a finished layout, in a finished architectural style. If you look around, unless you're an Eskimo living in an igloo, I don't think there's many of those either. I'm sure there's maybe some Eskimos will call up and complain about that comment. I don't know. I'm so easily offended today. But all around the world, we're living in rectilinear rooms. We're living in 6 sides. You walk into your bathroom, walk into your kitchen, walk into your living room, look at the surfaces. You've got 6 sides to that surface, floor, ceiling, and the 4 walls or thereabouts. And so we said, that's interesting. Why don't we make rooms that are architecturally neutral on the exterior? Let's fit out the dollar dense stuff on the interior. Let's keep it up and keep that neutral and clean and modern. And let's see where we go. So if you think of Boxabl as Legos, little Legos you played with as a kid, the one with the 4 bumps, the little square one, and the one that's double that size, the rectangular one with the 8 bumps, the in-between one with the 6 bumps, the one that nobody uses, that one, those 3 sizes. And then you think of how you can connect and stack and cantilever on those grid lines, on those bumps. You've pretty much got Boxabl, except that we then pack it down, obviously, to something narrow that can ship globally. And so we have these building shells. The building shells is the technology in the 3 sizes. What can't you build with a 20 by 40? That's a 40-foot clear span with a 9.5 foot ceiling, 20 foot on the narrow side, as I mentioned previously, and windows and doors that you can cut out, huge windows and doors with no header, because our panel construction is post-industrial, alt materials everywhere and massively strong. And then everything inside is pre-chased. You have a professional audience, but the chases are holes, the tunnels that run through the interior of our panels, floor, ceiling. Every panel has a chase, horizontal and vertical chases. So you can put power, smoke detectors, PEX lines. It's a building system that builds most of the things most of the time. So now you can start to see our two masters. Our factory is making those 3 boxes in different configurations, and we go into an ever-decreasing funnel of rationalization down to the washer. We're very extreme about this. What the factory sees is repeatability, massive repeatability and scale. And those are our ambitions. We're getting there quickly. But what does the customer see? The customer sees really ultimate customization with all the heavy lifting done for them. The customer doesn't care. The customer doesn't say, can I bring that wall in 6 inches? They say, no, I need a Mediterranean 3-bedroom with the master bedroom south-facing over here, and I need a doorway over here, and it's got to be beautiful. And I want it quickly, and I want it at low cost, and I want it at high quality, and I want you guys to take the liability of quality and any warranty issues that might come. Those are the major pain points for developers, and we're like, yeah, we can do that. So that's how we thread the needle, where the factory makes repeatability, but the customer gets all the customization they want.
So let me ask you there, Paolo. I get your concept there about the architecturally neutral. So what you bring to the site in terms of a home or building you're working on, what in addition to that does your end user or the client or the customer need to bring to the table in order to complete the project?
So what we will bring is everything complete from the outside of the walls in. That's what we're providing, but we provide a lot of other useful elements to help the developer complete their project. So I'll just run through it. First of all, in terms of lowering costs. First of all, Boxables ship on our own trailer systems. On our trailer system, we can pull 2 40-foot Boxables. Imagine that. 2 40-foot Boxables, not with a big rig, with a pickup truck. Imagine the cost savings there. It's absolutely staggering. And it gets better. Those Boxables triple in size when they unpack. So we're delivering about 1,600 square feet, 800 square feet each by one pickup truck instead of, 6 big rigs. So that's a big one, number one. Number two, for any of your listeners that work in the modular world or tried modular product, for example. Number two, there are no overnight stops. We don't have to sort of park in a high school or a church parking lot overnight or anything like that. The developer or the onesie customer does not have to be home when we show up. All they have to do is say, put it over there. We don't care if the ground is level. We don't need you to bring a crane. We will drop them off. Our driver will drop it off in about 20 minutes, and the ground does not have to be level, and he or she can do it by themselves. That's very important. Okay, number three, in terms of picking up the Boxables and putting them together, no crane needed. If you're a developer and you have a crane on site, well, that's all well and good, but the crane is expensive and it's busy. And that's why you have it on site, because it's busy. For us, we just need a telehandler. Telehandler is just a big forklift, and you can pick it up and do up to 2 stories with the forklift. Then you unpack the Boxables, matrix style, unfolds. Today, we're using a crane for that. We're working on a mechanism that 2 guys, so lowest common denominator for that would be, for the unpacking, would be like a crazy wild man at the top of a mountain where he can't get his car and he wants to make a cabin in the woods. Bear with me with this analogy, because we go to the lowest common denominator a lot. We say, okay, can't even get a car there. And so we're like, okay, 2 buddies, a mechanism, and an auto battery that the guy can get from Costco. So we're developing that unpack mechanism, obviously 2 guys and a car battery. I know it sounds a little bit Rube Goldberg, but it's a lot less expensive than a crane. And currently we can do it actually with a telehandler. Then in terms of the site work, we provide plans. We're getting them 50 state approved. You have to go to your local town for the basement. So Boxables obviously ship. They're very strong. They don't need a basement. Field-built construction requires a basement, and they put a foundation, and they put all the little sticks on top. And the foundation, it makes all the little sticks strong until it's all sheathed up and everything. And it's still pretty weak. Boxables obviously can travel thousands of miles, so that they can be held up, frankly, with 4 concrete posts, 6 concrete posts. And we provide everything from a full basement to a slab to piers. We provide those plans, just print them off, take them to your local town, or for the site, the field workers to put that together. And then in terms of hookups, whatever the use case is, whether it's town sewer or a well, regular water, grey water, electric, whether it's gas, Boxables all port to one corner and nothing goes underneath the product. It all ports out to the side. Going underneath things is a really bad idea. We do it on our roads and we're constantly digging them up. So we don't want to be digging up our houses when things break. So everything ports to one side. We make that really very easy. So that's a general arc. And then, by the way, that delivery system can backhaul commodities like containers, but specifically can also backhaul automobiles to further subsidize the cost of the delivery of products. So they're very efficient to ship.
But let me ask you specifically about the design element. So you talk about the outside of the walls in. What then does the client need to do in terms of customizing the appearance of the product or the house or whatever it is that you're bringing on site?
The exterior of the Boxabl on our customer base, your audience might know, customer number one was Elon Musk. He bought one of our prototypes, pretty wild. Customer number two was the Department of Defense, 156 units. And for Guantanamo, they wanted steel exterior, gave them a steel exterior for those units. Customer number three now is D.R. Horton. Your listening audience can be very familiar with that, the largest home builder in the country. But they've invested, by the way. And so they've ordered a few hundred units. I'm not sure exactly. So we're going to our, what we call consumer grade, which is sort of iPhone quality grade building construction, because we still have to learn how to make these things. And those are, in terms of materials, basically steel, concrete, and insulation. So the exterior is a hardy board, and the latest Boxables are very clean with a modern aesthetic on the exterior. So you can certainly just unpack these and go live in them, no problem. But they are rectilinear with big windows, and any exterior finish, we call it dress-ups. It's just a gingerbread. It's not required for any functional element, whether it's rain drainage or ingress or wind loads or anything like that. Don't need any of that. The developer can just do facades or do the whole thing. And we're experimenting now. We've just got enough bandwidth, even though we're scaling rapidly with our engineering team. We just have enough bandwidth now to get to the exterior portion, and we'll be developing exterior facades for developers, and those will be downloadable with cut sheets and everything. We go from, just to give you an idea, different types of exterior finish. We've got everything from Adobe's, Contemporary's, New England with shingle and siding. And we've even got some whimsical ones. We've got log version, and we've even got some whimsical ones. One is a castle. It's pretty funny. For the casita model, it's a 400 square foot castle. Yeah, so those are some of the things that we're providing.
Tell me more about how you envisage Boxabl being applicable in the commercial space. Get the logic on the residential. Obviously, with D.R. Horton investing, they see some potential there that they want to explore. What about in the commercial arena?
As we scale, our focus is very much residential because that's where the biggest problem is. We're not a charity, we are for profit, but I did start the company with my business partner to do good works, but we are business minded. And so scaling the residential side of things is number one. We found entry-level product is the Boxabl Casita. People sometimes, I think, incorrectly mislabel us as a tiny homemaker, but it's just, the Casita is just a configuration of the smallest building shell, and it's basically an ADU, accessory dwelling unit. They call them in California, granny, mother-in-law apartments, that sort of thing. And we have been absolutely stunned by the use case for people, what they want to use them for. It's just absolutely shocking for us. So when I think about that, and then I think about the commercial space, so we get into the commercial space, I'm sure people will find commercial applications for the Boxabl in the commercial environment. I would say one of the metrics where we don't fit is in huge clear spans, right? So if you want a giant building, if you want to build a factory, you're not going to build it with Boxabls. They'd be too small. Like something like the Vanishing Point factory I have behind me. You're not going to do that, or auditoriums or anything like that. But in the residential space, we're looking to build most things most of the time. And then I know that we're going to have a lot of fun actually building diners, things like that. Outlet malls, be good use for that. We'll be able to go up to 5 stories in production. And it doesn't all have to come out of whole cloth either, right? For those commercial applications where you might have offices, you might have meeting rooms, bathrooms, Boxabl can definitely play a major role. And it can be combined with traditional field construction when you're doing tilt-up concrete. We're not replacing tilt-up concrete warehouses or auditoriums or giant steel beams, stadiums and things of that nature. But they all still need infrastructure. They still need some of the things I mentioned, lunchrooms, meeting rooms, bathrooms, and things like that. So we don't focus too much on that. We have an order book that is mind-boggling, frankly. We all wake up every morning and say, what the hell is going on? We have an order book just for the Casita, which is the 400 square foot studio home, 150,000. It's just staggering. I call it an expressions of interest because they're not all with deposits. But some of those expressions of interest, 110 or 20 or 50. So we don't really know. There is obviously a ceiling to sales, but it's not visible from where we're sitting right now.
And when are you going to be shipping the casita?
The casita is shipping now. As we sort of get our sea legs underneath us, the factory's been open 18 months from zero. So if I could just share a bit of pain with you and your listeners, if you about it.
Yeah, share some pain's good.
If you can help me, give me a health session and then give me an invoice for mental services. We moved in here 2 years ago. We went live 18 months ago. Prior to that, we were in just a 10,000 square foot R&D facility. We are now in a 300,000 square foot facility, 6 or 7 acres, I think. Probably not. Someone will correct me. And we had to scale from zero. It wasn't a car maker opening up another plant and bringing staff and engineering. We had to hire. It was interesting. But so we got through that.
What was your biggest challenge with scaling?
So then we weren't scaling. I would say that was from 0 to 1. That was going from not being in production to being in production. Fortunately, we were fulfilling the Department of Defense order, and they were actually very useful. They brought in people on a bi-monthly basis, just very skilled people to help us. We also drafted in Porsche, the automobile maker, have 700 consulting engineers for folks like us, whether you want to make little fizzy pop bottles going down high production line or making houses. And the way we make houses is mostly analogous to an automotive production line. So they were very helpful. We've got 200 people in the factory, just on the factory side right now. We need to quintuple that, frankly, but there was zero. So we had managers. We got through it and we delivered it.
Tell me the one reason Boxabl will fail.
If we cannot, that's great. If we can't scale, we've accomplished nothing. If we can't scale, we'll just be a little regional factory builder. So I tell you what's not going to be a problem. Money is not going to be a problem. That's an interesting story in and to itself. We've raised 150 million through crowdfunding. We're the largest crowdfund, most successful crowdfund, possibly outside of digital coins, I think. If we're not, someone will correct me. We're raising now. We think we can actually raise $1 billion through crowdfunding, which is completely insane.
Let me ask you this, because there's other guys and gals who are doing this kind of thing, or they're trying it. They're maybe not getting as much traction. Why are you guys getting that traction in terms of the crowdfunding and also various people offering you, someone like D.R. Horton investing in you?
Yeah, so I think 3 parts to that. So I think the onesie customer is a fan. I think they see freedom. When they see the casita, they don't see the building system. They just see the casita. The casita, with those 150,000 unique orders, which each may be multiples, will ultimately be less than 1% of our business. That's insane scale we're talking about. The fans, a lot of them very educated, they're just fans. It's just freedom. The D.R. Hortons of the world just see that they have a massive problem. They see that we're the only people that addresses the entirety of the problem with functional solutions. They see that other people are making, do you want to buy this style of home? Do you want to buy that A-frame home? Do you want to buy that tiny home? That's not going to play on a global level. You have to cater to people's regional styles, DR and Lennar, and we're talking to them all. Folks at DR have been fantastic for us. They see the problem, they can identify all the pain points, and they see that we theoretically, because we're doing it now, fix every single last one of those pain points. So they're all rushing in. It's kind of humbling that DR is a storied company since the 60s. To have their interest and their help, these are professional friends. They're professional friends. That's great.
So how are you going to address the challenge? You're bringing the product to the customer, and then I'm assuming at that point you guys provide installation, and then you're going to have to then interact with other contractors. It sounds to me like that's going to be a lot of, for lack of a better word, hassle. Because at the end of the day, the customer wants their casita or they want their home or whatever it is that you're providing, and yet there's still that contractor producer dynamic that can cause a lot of friction and a lot of cost. How do you propose to handle that aspect of it?
Yeah, so us providing solutions doesn't end at factory doors and we wave goodbye to the casita. There's 2 types of customer, really. There's the onesie customer and there's the developer customer. Obviously, we're focused on the developer customer right now, sort of friends and family type. We don't know them and they're not family, but they're professional people, whereas the onesie customer is a consumer retail customer, has just a crazy standard of what they expect, post-industrial world, and we're not quite there yet. And they have the right to demand that. So how we fix that, how do we make the glue from our product to being set and somebody living in it? So we're just now planning for want of a better word, a Boxabl University. Pretty hardcore course. You've got to come for a couple of weeks. There'll be different grades of installer, and you'll be a certified installer. Those certified installers are certainly going to be our developers. They're going to be a lot of the regional guys, for example, real world example from D.R. Horton. And we'll have classrooms and we'll make it fun. There'll also be an online digital course, The Big Planet, Big Country. So that's how we'll get the information across to provide glue. So the developer will have their own crews, but they will be trained.
So are you looking then to cut out the contractor at the local level? And I don't mean that in a negative way, but to put your own people on the ground at a local level to mitigate that challenge of multiple contractors working on a project?
Not our people. We would train, so we wouldn't be cutting out those contractors.
I see. Okay.
Not only would we be training them, as the network grows, we'd be feeding them customers and sales.
Okay, so hold on. Let me just rephrase it in a different way. So would it be kind of like the auto manufacturer and the car dealers?
I said yes and no. I think when the car arrives, it's pretty much done. They might throw bigger wheels on it or something. So I'm probably not the most accurate analogy. I think I would call them certified installers. It would be a new business model. And then so that's fairly straightforward. And we're doing that now with developers. And we're getting our sea legs, as I mentioned earlier, with the reality of developers who are professional people and can provide very intelligent feedback and assist. So that's what we're doing there. Very excited about the Boxabl University. Basically, kid at heart. The university sounds great. On the onesie customer, I think we have a really great plan. And that plan is going to be the big box outlets. So, of course, a customer can come direct to us, but they will find some pre-configured solutions, let's say in a parking lot outside Home Depot. And the lovely thing about Home Depot and the other big box outlets and Lowe's in this country is they have two types of customer. They have the regular Joe, and then they have the pro customer. Those pro customers, so they have a database of their pro customers. Those pro customers can become certified installers. So it works for everybody, because let's just take the onesie customer that goes to Home Depot, just a sort of an imaginary example, and they see that there's a Boxabl in the parking lot and they tour it and they go, oh my God, this is so great. Oh, but I don't know. I'm an accountant. I have no idea. The big box retailer can hook them up with a certified installer who's already their customer and let them work it out. So who gets what out of this? We deliver product efficiently. The big box outlet has no cost of goods, no returns, no inventory apart from a model, and profits fall straight to the bottom line. Pretty staggering for them. The onesie customer has a connection to the factory with the certified installer and has recourse. I don't like him. He didn't do this. He didn't do that. Okay, he's going to do this and that if he wants more business from us. So it's a three-way relationship that I think is very healthy for that onesie customer. And then for that certified installer, for the pro, the Lowe's or the Home Depot pro, it's absolutely fantastic, because they're not just an installer. That onesie customer needs a foundation, needs someone to go to the town hall, needs to put a driveway in, might need a nice garage. So we are just reorganizing the industry to make sense. And we don't see anybody losing in the equation. Everybody does more, faster, for less. And there's plenty of runway because the problem is so big. So we're just going to enable it, everybody. And we're not there yet with the big box. We haven't reached out to them. I had a previous career, sold billions of dollars of product, put a lot of meals on the table for us, the big box outlets. So I know them rather well, but we haven't reached out, and we will. So that's the onesie plan, and that's the developer plan. And we're doing it in an ad hoc way now. We're doing a community of 180 homes, 200 homes for a mining community in Baghdad, Arizona. Great guys. We have like 8-plex. They're all apartments, and they are coming down to get trained. Their installers are coming down to get trained. And during these early days, we have our own install teams, and we deliver product, and the team scatters and helps their installers. So we're learning along with them. And as with all things Boxabl, it gets systemized and documented. So ultimately, it can be repeatable, franchisable.
So the way that you're looking at it at the moment, the way you're looking at it, Paolo, at the moment, it sounds like you've got this big residential market. So that's what you're going to really go after in terms of solving that problem. And then the commercial market would be something that you would look at down the road. Did I hear that right?
Yes, I would say the commercial market has to look at us the other way around and see if we are a fit for them. What we plan to make forever and a day is 3 sizes of building shell, which we spent God knows how many hours. We're a funny company. We have in the office a lot of engineers here. We have precisely nobody but the building construction. We have chemical engineers, we have aerospace engineers, and just our third founder actually came from the building construction industry, and that's it. So it's a different mix of people that we have here.
Interesting. How can people get in touch with you, Paolo? How can they learn more about the company?
Sure. It's Boxabl. Forget the E on the end. There is no E on the end. Boxabl. We are in glorious Las Vegas, Nevada, which half luck, half judgment turned out to be a spectacularly amazing location to put down roots for a company like this. And if you live in Kentucky or Boise and you say, come and visit the factory, maybe people don't want to come, with all respect to those lovely places. But when you say you're in Las Vegas, people find a reason to come see you. And we're just 15 minutes, just a short ride north. And we give what we call Disney tours at the factory here. It's just really a different way of thinking about a business. It's huge crowdfunding. So very appreciative of our fans. So we set up actually a Disney tour. When I say a Disney tour, we have gates that open. The fans and customers that come put on the PE, which is a form of costume. We have a store, and you can see behind me here, the banners, and we have roadways, and we have a little 3-foot cartoon pig, and all sorts going on. So it's really a destination, but there's a lot of serious business behind that, and it's just a really great place to visit.
That's awesome. Paolo, I really appreciate you joining us and walking us through the process. We'll make sure that we link to the website on the show notes. I got to ask you one more question. So I'm visiting Vegas, and I know this may be a very difficult question to answer, but what's the one restaurant I need to hit when I visit Vegas?
Oh, Eric, that's not difficult for me. Vino. Panevino in Italian. Sono italiano originalmente. It just means bread and wine. And please ask for Vincenzo, who's a very colorful gentleman, very colorful maitre d'. Please give him my name. He will hug you and kiss you. Don't give my name if you don't want that. But the food is delicious. And Eric, please do get in touch. I'll share my cell when we're finished. And please do come by. Great to meet in person. It'd be wonderful.
That'd be great. Yeah. So if you're in Vegas, you can take that tour of the factory. And I know there's lots of folks who go to Vegas for conventions and things like that. So they can put that on their itinerary and check out what you guys are doing there with Boxabl. I appreciate your time here, Paolo. I'm going to put a link in the show notes to Boxabl as well as to the restaurant that you recommended, and look forward to talking to you again about how the journey that you guys are on and the successes that you have. Thanks for joining us here today.
Great. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it very much chatting.
All right, cool. Thank you for listening to Construction Genius. And if you're ever in Vegas, book a tour to check out Paolo's factory there at Boxabl. And go to their website, boxabl.com. Before you bounce for the day, I'd like to encourage you to go to Amazon right now and purchase yourself a copy of my book, Construction Genius, effective, hands-on, practical, simple, no BS leadership strategy, sales, and marketing advice for construction companies. If you're a construction company owner or leader, it is the one book that you must read. I was talking to my daughter and she asked me, how much are you selling your book for? I said $19.99. She said, wow, that's a lot of money. Is it worth it? And I told her yes, because if you use and apply the insights that you learn from the book, it can make you millions. So there's a link in the show notes to the book. Go and buy it today. I know you'll get tremendous value from it. And thank you for listening to the podcast, Construction Genius.